There you go, live.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. Season 3, Episode 3. Legacy numbering is 43 of this episode. We got several issues we're going to be covering tonight, and I am super excited to bring them to you. Welcome to our first show. It's been a while, and I'm really excited. We got some brand new material to talk about. Some brand new things we'll be talking about. Got some news, some topics that we'll be talking about as well. Before we get started, though, I want to thank our patrons at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Bigman, Scott, Greg, Jurgen, Phoenician, Georgia, and Kale, as well as Cindy. Thank you for your support. We got Javi in the house. We got Vickman in the house, Mr. Comics. Thank you guys to our patrons. Thank you for your support. We got some more exciting news coming very soon, so check it out at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. And yes, it is the first episode in a while. So we're going to be covering a couple. We're going to be covering 3 issues tonight, or 2 issues tonight. 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, we did 3 last time.
Looking really forward to it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening before we get started too as well. Want to let everybody know these are live streamed for our audio listeners on youtube.com/Spideydude Network, facebook.com/Spideydude Network, and twitch.tv/Spideydude Network. So if you are listening to audio editions of our show, we're going to be having live comments, and as such we may make references to visual aids and live comments. Please pay that no mind, and be sure to check it out on the video edition. But of course, we always thank our audio listeners. So with that, I turn it over. I'm going to introduce the panel, the group tonight. He is the executive producer of the Spideydude Experience and the Spideydude Radio Network. He is Neil Bokenreiter.
It's me. Hi. Where? Oh no, my graphic didn't update. Ah, crap.
I can hear you.
No, I said my graphic didn't update. I'm so sad.
He's also our head of graphics here on the Spideydude Radio Network.
Yeah, but I'm also doing Books of X, which will be a Patreon bonus for those who sign up for our Patreon. So if you want to hear me talk about X-Men, a series that I had no interest in until like 3 years ago, look out for that. Anyways.
And of course, we have the host. Actually, this is his first time in a while we've had him on, but we have the host of Amazing Spider-Man Classics Season 2, available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, Amazon Audible Podcasts, or your favorite podcast catcher. He is one half of the duo, Javi Trujillo. Hello, Javi.
Hey, everybody. It's been an amazing week. So it's been nothing but nonstop Spidey for me, it feels like.
Yes. And
if you're not Savage Spider-Man.
If you're watching the live stream, you can see that he has the new Hot Toys Spider-Man from the video game Spider-Man PS4 with the scorpion tail, which will probably make innuendos about.
It's going to be my pointer for the episode when I have a point to make.
See, when you do the Spider-Man Council on the Comic Bench now, you could use that.
Right.
Speaking of that, Paul is not on tonight. He has no voice, so he lost his voice after the fantastic Spider Council episode that dropped on youtube.com/comicbench. So check that out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be on. So
Paul Herman, I have no mouth and yet I must scream.
All right. And last but certainly not least, he is our resident historian on the show. He is
loosely. Use that loosely.
I don't know if I can't put the spider / historian. I think that's trademarked by FedEx. So,
well, I was going to say, Javi, with the scorpion pointer, you're just it adds to the professor moniker even more.
I think we need to invite Mark We need to invite Mark Alfred on here so we can have like an actual Spidey teacher on here.
Yeah.
I still think that his use of Peter's cosplay suit with the photoshopped teacher hat is still one of my favorite.
They're dynamic. Mark and I had a thing going when I was reviewing for the Crawl Space, but Pete and Mark have taken it to a whole other level.
They're and I'm bringing Pete up because like it is a relevant topic. Pete also was So hello, Joey. Greetings from West Texas, Zach. Hey, Joey, how are you?
We got one from out that side.
Yeah. As a former West Texan myself, I wish I was in West Texas. I've been kind of homesick. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, you're here now. So just feel better, I guess.
I know.
That's the slot solution to your mental health problems. Just feel better, I guess.
Oh, and I wish Paul was here because we are going to talk about Slot tonight. He is a news topic. He's a topic in the news.
He's actually going to be at Comic-Con this year.
Adam, can you meet him?
Using Spider-Man and he's not behind on his deadline.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that.
Be nice.
Yeah.
No, I was really looking forward to actually seeing him when I went in 2011, and then he did like a video, and I was disappointed. I did get to meet Steve.
Oh,
yeah. At least you got the video.
Yeah. So, as Vinkman says, yes, he who should not be named. That's on the other show on the Spidey Radio Network. We basically made him Voldemort, but
oh god, my voice cracked.
Neil's going through puberty for the third time.
Yeah, if you're watching the show, you might see Neil choke to death.
Oh, it's a Patreon exclusive. We're gonna cut that clip from the final show. You can only see it on Patreon.
Mr. Comic says, I've been all over Texas. I prefer green East Texas. My wife is from Texarkana. Yeah. Neil and I are from are in the general Houston area. We got Javi in Austin.
I used to be in Austin.
That's right.
It's hotter than a witch's.
Oh my god!
Don't say it
here. Yeah.
The heat, man. Like even back home, they're like back up in the Panhandle. They're like 104, and I was the heat index today was 105 down here. And
ours was 109, so there.
It was 100. It was 100. It was feels like 116 yesterday.
Oh,
I was out. I've been in and outside for the last 2 days doing various tasks, and so it has been like it's sapped all the energy out of me. It's been terrible.
Yeah,
I because I'm not used to the humidity with aspect because. Where I'm from, it's a dry heat. So if it's 103 degrees, it's hot, but it's not like you're having to. It doesn't feel like the moisture's like pooling inside of you and simultaneously like leaving your body. It's not like you're like. I'll never forget the joke that they made in like the second issue of the Yoast run of Scarlet Spider, where
he's like sweating like a tank. He's just sweating like an animal.
Sweat has. I didn't really understand it until I moved to Houston. And honestly, I appreciate that book now more that I live down here.
Because it was a good book.
But not only that, but like the care that they actually took to like
get that Houston feel, yeah.
Yeah, they really did
they're multiplying. Sorry, the flies are multiplying.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
They know I've got the good stuff in front of me, so
that's the other thing too. You know, back home, we would always wait for the cold snap because that kills all the like flies and bugs.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen here. Instead, I get fire ants biting my feet.
Anyways, now that we've had our 10 minutes of here's boomers talking about the weather, let's talk about comics. Let's talk about Spider-Man. You know, that thing people came to listen to.
So our first topic of the evening.
And for once, I have the window that I need open.
Good job. Our first is Dan Slott.
Dan Slott's back, yeah.
So Dan Slott and Mark Bagley bring about the end of the Spider-Verse. We had the teaser, I think, last time when we were on the show. And so it's Mark Bagley, Dan Slott. I am excited for the Mark Bagley aspect.
I'm not.
The art looks really good, honestly. The color palette.
That's the cover, right?
That's the cover, I think.
It's interesting that the cover is a classic suit and not the Osborn one he's wearing in the preview pages.
I'm guessing because you have to. Here's the thing: if people came into the book and they saw the cover with Peter wearing like a glowing spider, they'd go, "What the fresh hell is this?" I'm not reading.
Well, maybe pick it up.
They might. Yeah, they might. To be fair, yeah.
Okay,
right. They might pick it up. They might pick it
like
up.
A story from Volume 4.
But I think it's for familiarity because it's a new number 1, and people are gonna think it's a jumping on point, which it may be.
It's not though. Like this is meant to be, I think, a tie-in / continuation of the end of Spider-Verse event that Slott is. How do I get out of this? I'm not stuck.
It can still be a
right corner.
You can still have it be a jumping on point though.
That's true.
Is the solicit on here? Because it hasn't actually been solicited yet, right?
No, it hasn't. So October's solicits haven't come out yet, have they? I know September's have.
We haven't seen the 25 variant covers, so.
Oh my god.
So it's adjectively Spider-Man number 1. It's adjectively Spider-Man number 1. It's going to be running concurrently with Amazing. It's going to tie into Amazing. So it's Slott on Spider-Man. A lot of people were curious as to what he was going to do after his Fantastic Four run ends. And I think here's my take on it. I was mildly annoyed. Okay. But I have said on the show, and if this is your first time listening, welcome. But I have said on this show several times that I feel like that they need a second title satellite book that is Peter Parker focused.
They had one.
With Spec and Friendly Neighborhood, yeah.
I mean, they've had them with Spec and Friendly Neighborhood.
But Friendly Neighborhood was, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that long ago that we had 2 books.
Yeah,
that's true. It feels like it, though.
Friendly Neighborhood ended in what, 2020?
Perhaps. I don't remember. Maybe.
Still on Crawlspace when it ended? Yeah, I was still on Crawlspace when it ended. So it was 2020. I think it was early 2020. Yeah, that's right.
It started in January 2019 and went for, I think, 14 issues.
Yeah, because it ended and then it was like nonstop Spider-Man. To kind of take it.
I know where I was when this book ended. I was in class. I'm not even joking. I remember being in my advertising class when I saw the announcement this book was over, and I almost jumped out of my seat and was like, "Oh God!"
The last issue came out December 2019.
Wow, it was that long ago.
Yeah,
that was my grandfather. That was my grandfather sneezing Venkman. Yeah.
Vinkman's comment for the audio listeners was, "What was that? Is that Neil's dogs, or was someone being murdered?"
Hey, Gramps, next time you sneeze, don't sound like you're being murdered, please. The viewers are confused. Oh, okay. Thank you.
What did he say?
He said, okay.
So, thanks, Neil's grandfather. Welcome to the show.
He is now part of the Spideydude canon.
Yeah, he's like Waylon and
my mom.
Your mom, yeah. Your family doesn't make appearances on Crawl Space, do they?
No, they never have, which is the weird part,
right?
Yeah.
But so look, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think I'm going to have to save that image so I can use because I have the iOS 16 beta and make that a sticker on the Discord.
That iOS 16 beta is a kick-ass thing.
So if you don't know what that is, basically the upcoming software is coming out in September when the new phones drop, and one of the new features is using machine learning on your phone to basically auto crop an part of an image to where you can isolate it. Now, part of this feature is designed to go along with the new lock screen and the way the new lock screen works. Not going to lie, I downloaded the beta. That is the one thing that has worked flawlessly. I have had a lot of bugs. Like, this is probably the worst. This is probably the buggiest first beta that I've seen in the last 3 years.
I remember you weren't very happy with iOS 15, so that says something.
If iOS 15 to me was, and part of it was the pandemic, I think. And so I think we're kind of seeing now, now that people are back and and sides can kind of talk with each other and they're all on the campus together. I see this as this year as a much bigger software update across the board with Mac, iOS, iPad OS. I know a lot of people are mad on the iPad OS side of things because certain features are only limited to the M1 chip, which is basically making everybody with an iPad Pro really upset that they have to upgrade to get the full experience. But yeah, this is.
I think that did my iPad anyways. So
that little feature to me is one of the most and the one that I'm really interested to try. And Javi, you'll like this: the continuity camera feature, where having Mac, you can use your camera, your phone camera, to act as a webcam. And one of the things too is if you have it pointed like towards your desk, it has like a top-down view. It's like wizardry, to where it uses the wide-angle lens on your wide-angle camera to be able to show what's on your desk. So you know how like Marquez Brownlee, they always have like the top-down view when they're doing like unpacking phones or whatever.
Yeah,
it's bringing that type of feature to your computer without having to have like a camera mount above your head. It's really crazy. Sarah Dietschy did a short on it today, and I'm like, that's super cool. So I feel like there's innovation that's being put into the software this year where I didn't feel that way last year. Wild tangent. I am so sorry.
Anyways, Javi, thoughts on Slot? Go.
Yeah.
I have not been a fan. I've tried at various times to read his writing, and it just doesn't sound like Peter Parker or Spider-Man to me. I didn't think that, or I thought that the way he ended with 798 through 801, like I actually thought that was pretty decent. I think he's a good idea guy, but he doesn't necessarily translate well to dialogue.
Which is, can I jump in here real quick?
That he used what's his name? The Marvel method, but also who was his frequent partner on
Christos Gage?
Christos Gage.
Oh, sorry, the artist.
Struck me very much in that 616 special, where the Marvel Method 616 special, where Slot, I think, acknowledges that he's not a good dialogue guy.
Yeah, because I've read solo Gage stuff, and I thought it was fine. But
yeah, his Gage's Superior run was really good, aside from like the horrible ending, but that felt more editorially mandated. But like,
I understand these bad endings. Like, how can Marvel not stick a landing?
Every once in a while they do. Silk, I know I keep going back to the Silk well, but Silk, for whatever reason, has consistently stuck the landing when it comes to having solid endings.
Gross exception. I mean, look at Amazing Mary Jane, and I think that was partly pandemic, but
yeah, I don't blame it for that. But
even the last issue of the first arc, it felt like Leo was scrambling to try to writing more of a continuation than an ending.
Yeah, it seemed like they had a finite story and then realized the success, and they're like, okay, let's
go make some more of it.
And and then the pandemic happened and slammed the brakes on everything. So
we're getting conclusions of the Gwen Stacy mini though, so that's neat.
Yeah, but that was, I think, that didn't get concluded, and like
No, I
Mary
know.
Jane.
I'm just saying that at least we're getting the conclusion. Shut up, man. Take your bingo card.
But long story short, it's got Bagley art, and I'm going to get over whatever biases I have. I'll try the first issue. I'll get the first issue just to have something pretty to look at, if nothing else. And if I don't like what I'm reading, then I won't get any more.
You'll let me take over on Satellites.
I'll let Neil take over. But I mean, it's Spider-Verse, and I find the concept interesting, but I don't know. We'll see what he does with it.
And to bring up Neil's points here, you talk about Silk. Ben Reilly also, the Ben Reilly Spider-Man mini, stuck the landing. Like,
yes.
It's like mini-series that are not like event mini-series.
Like an ongoing. You want an ongoing example? Okay.
Ongoing things, like the ends of runs, just feel like they have had such a hard time sticking landings. Because and this has been a systemic problem going back to even the JMS run. I mean, I think the last good ending of a run, honestly, was. I thought Roberto Guerra-Sacasa's final issue on Sensational was good. And this is not my bias coming out, but Peter David's Friendly Neighborhood felt like it was a really great ending to his run. For those that don't know, I helped with the creation of that issue. But that's like the last time I felt like runs have like stuck landings in Spider-Man, because JMS's run ended kind of with a thud. Mackey's run, the Mackey run, that annual was weird.
Yeah.
That annual was weird. Jenkins and Buckingham's last issue for Spectacular. I'll give them that. Like, that was a good ending. But none of those were Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, Michelini. Maybe it's just an expectation that these runs should end well, but like most of these runs are just not ending.
Oh no! Expecting a comic to be good. What a hot take.
Yeah, because Michelini's run didn't end well. The Clone Saga ended on a good note.
Yeah.
But the post-Clone Saga pre-reboot ended terribly. The reboot was terrible. Man, bad runs. What a bummer. Bad endings, but
oh yeah, Peter David always getting shafted. That's a consistent. That's a constant in life.
Yeah.
Every time he gets a book, I just like it now. It's not even a joke anymore. It's not even a meme. You just expect that he's going to get roped into some sort of editorial. Is going to rope him into some sort of stupid tie-in. It's going to.
Hey, we've got a movie with Morbius coming out. Why don't you do a story where he meets Spider-Man in the black costume? Oh, and we've got the Eternals hitting the screen soon, so let's work them in to the symbiote saga.
Bobby, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. God, symbiote Spider-Man was absolute dog shit at the end.
Oh
man,
yeah. That first one was so good, though. I loved it so much, and then it just became a chore to get through every month.
You know what? I've got a. I guess Dave Mateus got out pretty unscathed as far as sticking the landings goes.
So far,
you know.
I mean,
it's kind of weird though, because like, if you talk about like his run on Spec, I mean,
well, because he goes into Maximum Carnage, right? And then does he go over to Amazing after that?
Yeah, I think after Amazing after Carnage he was shuffled over to Amazing, and then he got rotated outwards before he got a chance to wrap up.
Then he went back to Spec though.
Yeah, he goes back to Spec.
He got a second Spec. He got a second Spec, but he got rotated out of ASM midway through the Clone Saga, and then
actually he didn't get rotated out. He stepped down.
That's what I use kind of rotating as like the colloquial.
Yeah, no, he stepped down. because we talked about that on the interview here on the Spideydude Radio Network.
Yeah, go watch that interview. It's a good one. Not right now. Yeah. Let us finish the episode first, but later on when we're done.
Zach Dial. They don't even have dials on TVs anymore. That is something that kids will never know. Like they won't understand that concept.
I went to work yesterday and I said that, and one of my coworkers just looked at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Like it's like Hobby and I are the old guys.
He's older than I am. He's my coworker's 28. He has never heard of that. That was like alarming.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Did they not grow up around old people?
Probably not.
That's my hot take, is that we need to have multi-generational households so that people can get like old people and experience entropy and death.
Look, I had my first, like, one of the first, I know the first TV that we ever had rabbit ears. I do like true blue bona fide rabbit ears. Oh, and one of the I think my dad's TV that he had in the garage was a black and white, one of those, like, it was like one of those TVs you take camping, and it has like this giant extendo antenna. But there was also another one that he got at a garage sale that had like a freaking old school knob. That was the only way you could.
SoFlo brings up editorial controlling all these. That's
yeah,
true.
I was gonna say, like, isn't it? I feel like it's editorial's fault that all these things ended badly or weirdly or
on JMS's run. Slot, I think.
Slot got an effective ending. I'll say this: Slot actually got a definitive.
I hate that he killed Flash Thompson off. I think in terms of like things that happened that I like, it was awful. But yes. in terms of like a technical ending where he got to wrap up all his plot points, he got what he wanted.
That's been a very rare instance. And frankly, he got to do that with Fantastic Four too.
Yeah, but the problem with killing Flash was it didn't resonate for me whatsoever. Like, here's a character from Amazing Fantasy 15 that it didn't bother me because I knew he'd be back, and it was like what, a year later. A year and a half?
2 years, yeah, because it was in the King. It was
the
final. It was last year.
You know, the way they rotate supporting characters out, it's like I didn't really have a chance to like realize he was gone, because I mean, there's so many people you don't see
because he was off in space
for a long stretch of time, so it doesn't even really feel like he died.
He was off in space as one of the Guardians for like what, a year and a half before coming back. He got rotated back in. He becomes Anti-Venom, and then he dies, which we can. I know Symbiote Bro was pissed to hell and back about that, but he's back now. So yeah,
and
that's
one of what he's getting.
And that's one of the things that bothers me about, I guess, just Marvel Comics in general, is that like when you have these brands that go on for like 60 plus years, I'd argue maybe 30 years past their shelf life in terms of their viability. We're not surprised by anything anymore. Like the X-Men literally come back to life like on demand now. There's no surprise to it anymore.
Yeah, well, I will say this: X-Men, at least with Hickman, I felt like that what they attempted to do was try to make the continuity streamlined and make sense, because X-Men has been such a cluster F going on ever since really Claremont leaving,
and like Lobdell taking over.
Yeah, like when Claremont was there was a singular vision, and like everybody kind of marched to his drum. But even then, like once he left, I feel like that X-Men just got more and more convoluted. Joey brings up a good question. He says, "How long has Nick Loeb been editor?"
Since 2014.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably like 8 years or so.
Yeah, because he started when Wacker left, which I think was early 2014, like just before Superior ended.
I think that's about right. Yeah.
And then he had Devin Lewis as his number 2, and then they kept that team for about 4 years, and then Devin Lewis went to Venom when Donny Cates took over, I'm trying to remember who took over Lowe's place when Spencer's run started. If anyone can remind me.
He was still the editor. Well, there was
his assistant editor.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Because Devin Lewis left in 2018.
So Nick's been there a long time. Now longer than Wacker was, and longer now than Alonso. Now that I think about it, I think he's probably approaching Ralph Macchio's territory in terms of length.
My point with the X-Men though was to kind of throw it on the fact that like we're not surprised anymore when a character dies because we just know they're going to come back.
Yeah, it's that's just death in comics in general. Like,
yeah, and that's just because characters have been around for 80 years. You can't. I unironically think there is a limit to what you can do with a character, and Spider-Man is, I think, the emblematic proof of that. But that's just kind of the creative entropy of any franchise. You got to stop at some point. Like the MCU, I think, even is kind of hitting that entropy point where
the MCU can't go on forever.
The problem that I think,
well, maybe it could. I don't know.
and we could get into a whole MCU tangent, but I'll say
that's a completely different beast.
Yeah,
I think the problem with Phase 4 was you created an expectation of an interconnected universe with
and nothing's connected.
The Infinity Saga, and now instead of it being character-driven storytelling, which is what they're trying to do with Phase 4, the general audience expectation now is changed. Now, I honestly think they're setting up for 3 people: Kang, Doom, and Galactus.
Namor. Well, also Namor.
Well, Namor's, he's coming.
I think he's going to be in. I think he's going to be in Black Panther.
He's got to be. Like, what other villains does Black Panther have?
Art leaked to them, I believe. Right?
Yeah. They cast him a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So but I'm saying in terms of big bads, I think it's going to be Kang, Doom, and Galactus is kind of the.
But you need a Fantastic Four for 2 of those.
You do. And
I'm not gonna lie, I saw Greg say that they should do Triumph and Torment for Doom and Doctor Strange, and I think that would probably work pretty well to get Doom in the door.
Well, they got to nail the Doom casting. That's all I got to say.
But like one of my main issues with the MCU, and I think after I make my point, we should probably pivot to something actually relevant.
If there's spoilers in this statement, I'm gonna go la 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 la.
There's no spoilers.
Okay.
Not like anything like.
I got spoiled on one. I'm really mad about it. So,
but like the problem with Phase 4 is that, like you said, audiences kind of expect the interconnected universe that has been built up for 10, 12 years now, and Phase 4 has kind of, like you said, ignored that in favor of character building, except for the one show that shouldn't be connected to anything is connected to everything now. Miss Marvel has, without spoilers, kind of set up several different plot lines, even though Miss Marvel operates best when she is completely isolated from the goings-on of the rest of the universe. And that was, to me, its major flaw at the end of the series, was that it felt too connected. Well, Phase 4 hasn't been connected enough.
Yeah, it's like it's got to set up the Marvels, and I've not seen Moon Knight or Ms. Marvel.
Just watch the first 3 episodes. The last 3 aren't very good. Which because the lead for Kamala, I think her name is Ivan Valeri. Mm-hmm. Someone please correct me. I was probably wrong. I feel bad for her because she seems like such a pure ray of sunshine, and she got crafted with a bad script.
Yeah, I'm hoping that.
I don't think it's that bad.
I'm hoping
I'm hoping she gets the I'm hoping that they don't take away the wrong lessons from the reception to Miss Marvel and keep her and give her something better to work with, because she seems like genuinely excited to even be doing this.
Well, yeah,
And
she's like
she
18
brings a
years
lot-
old, and it's
But
her
what
first real movie
what I'm saying is that like
series thing.
she is. I know a lot of people say like this actor is X character totally. To me, she is like a genuine Kamala Khan, and I genuinely hope that they don't drop her just because her series had some mediocre reception.
It'll be really interesting. Is there a Marvel Studios panel this year?
Yes, there is.
Hall H, and they're doing one for the cartoon stuff, so X-Men and Marvel Zombies and What If.
Be nice if we hear something about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't care.
No, the you don't care about the animated show?
The freshman
year
cartoon.
one?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
There's some good talent behind that.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Well, I
just
think
hope-
Feige, okay, I'll say this. I think with Feige being involved with it, I'm much more with Feige having a hands-on role with that because it's out of Marvel Studios and not
Sony.
the animation. Because basically that got dismantled. I mean, the writing with Wacker leaving Marvel, like he did earlier this year, and Quesada leaving Marvel, like he's going to be doing, I think that writing was on the wall for, and especially after just Marvel television kind of got shuttered, you know. Like,
so real quick, Venkman has a good question that like now that most of the heavy hitters are gone, who do they have? And here's my theory. No, he's kind of more of a himbo. He's kind of more of a himbo instead of like a central figure to the MCU now. Here's my thing is that I'm betting they had all their chips on Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and when he died, that threw a serious wrench in their plans.
100%.
Because like Venkman said, like who do they really have? Like they've got Falcap, but reception to him has been pretty, I don't want to say middling, but like it's been pretty divisive.
The problem is that we're
just like the comics
now of MCU, where a lot of the characters were from the Marvel Now era, and there's a lot of negativity from that era of publishing that I feel like they've done a good job. Again, MCU has done a really good job of distilling the best parts of the books and enhancing them in a lot of ways. But it really feels like we're in the all new, all different Marvel Now era.
Where they didn't know what they wanted to do without their leads.
Where they didn't know what they wanted to do, but also it felt like they were trying too hard. And I kind of feel like that there is a little bit of element to Joe Q Public thinking that. And I think that you're also seeing that with like the response to even Love and Thunder, is that I think that there are people are trying to, they're like, oh, it's the multiverse. But like, that's a very tough sell. There needs to be some streamlining and centralization with it. Back to our topic at hand. Adam, what's your thoughts on
Slot?
We spent like 20 minutes talking about the movies.
Slot, whatever. I saw some people say like, can't we get someone else? Like just not like just like a new person to write Spider-Man, And I kind of agree. Like,
it's like
the thing is, this is tying into the Spider-Verse thing, so it's like, okay, well, Slot's ending the Spider-Verse, so he gets this. That's fine. Whatever. I don't know. Like, the Bagley art looks good.
I think we need air quotes when we say ending the Spider-Verse,
right?
Because there's no way
it's always gonna be around.
Look at all these brands we can make it to Marvel Legends figures.
What they'll do is he's just gonna kill off a bunch of them again and pare it down to whoever's in the movies. Like
I mean, there's no end to the Spider-Verse when we have 2 major motion pictures coming out.
They're not going to kill any. They're not going to kill any 616ers. We know that.
We know that.
They're probably gonna kill off the gay one.
No, they won't.
Dude, they will. I'm not gonna like bet money on that, but like I think Slot is dense enough that he would do it by accident and not see anything wrong with that.
Whoops! I killed that.
Whoops!
one.
I got the gay one. Yeah, because they made a big deal out of like the first gay Spider-Man in End of the Spider-Verse, and I can't help but worry like, oh, they're gonna kill him off for shock value.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm not looking forward to that. I like the Felicia Hardy Spider-Man. That's a kind of cool concept.
That's a good design. Yeah.
Anka knocked it out of the park with that one.
He's a good costume designer, man. He designed.
He went to go do. Was it Across the Spider-Verse, the movie?
Yeah, he's working on that, and like I like that new Miles suit in that. It's very simple, but it's sleek, and it's a cool Spider-Man outfit.
Anka's good at Anka is good at translating like old ideas into new bodies. I appreciate his talent. He did great on the Hellfire Gala one shot.
Yeah.
He got paid from that. Like
you mentioned Marvel Legends. I do want to share my screen.
Toys.
As we often do here on the channel. I have to mention this one because
that looks good.
Yeah.
Thing looks sick. I don't know if I can justify paying $104 for it.
You can.
Is there like one of those PayPal like installations of X dollars things you can do?
That may be the only, like I may have to do like quad pay on this, but like oh my god.
I mean, yeah, it's got the 3 different eyes. That's pretty cool.
Like this is, pulled straight. That right there is just like I'm not a huge fan of the one on the left.
Me neither.
That's probably my least favorite one, but like the other two, I'm in for.
I feel like we've seen, I can't think of who the artist was, but I feel like we've seen the one on the left before. So I don't feel like it's invalid.
Okay.
But from a personal
Lyle's,
preference,
it's
for whatever reason, it reminds me of Tom Lyle's take. I don't know why.
It is kind of like that.
Lyle, a little bit of Sal Buscema in there on the left one, but I also think I can't remember the guy's name, and this is me being the Clone Saga expert. The artist that did Web of Scarlet Spider for the 2 issues.
It wasn't
Butler.
No, it wasn't Butler. I can't think of who it was though.
But like that's very much what that reminds me of. For those that are listening to the audio version, I'm on Big Bad Toy Store with the Marvel Mafex.
I was about to say Scroce, but I'm pretty sure it's not him.
No, it's not Scroce.
Scroce never drew the Scarlet Spider. But one of the things that I do dig about it is love the soft good hoodie. Like love the soft good hoodie. To me, like that right there is straight from the Peter David series with Mark Bagley. Like that pose and everything, where he's like kind of got his hands out to his sides with the hoodie up. It looks great. This right here is the Scarlet Spider that I hoped we originally got with Toy Biz. Because if you remember,
screen just went black. Oh no, did you mean to close it?
Because back to the StreamYard. I have not pre-ordered 10. If I had $1,000 right now, I would have already gotten me a Sentinel and several other things. But dude, the thing is gorgeous.
That thing looks sick. I don't buy action figures, but if I did, that would be really good.
Better not be Santa Claus. Venkman is there is some concern about her possible involvement.
What else can he do?
She'll be fine.
What else can Slot do?
Yeah,
he's already seen our worst.
Neil, what's your thoughts on Slot? Because I never went to you because I was a bad.
I kind of already asked Javi and Adam, so I'm not really either which way on this. I would probably buy the first issue, and if Javi stops buying it, then I'll have to start reviewing it for Satellite. Well, shit. Begley looks good. I mean, I don't like. There's some faces in there that I don't like, but that's always kind of been a contention with me for Bagley. Inking work looks really good. I don't know who's inking him, but looks solid. Doesn't look like John Dell, which is like the one qualifier I have for Bagley art. But I'll check it out. I don't have high. I don't have high hopes for it though.
Now, Javi is excited because this has been he's a Hot Toys collector, and we finally got Peter 3, Peter 3, Peter 2,
Peter 3.
Yep.
Tom Holland or Tom Holland. Oh my God, Andrew Garfield.
I love this little guy like you wouldn't believe.
This thing looks sick. This is just gorgeous.
So let's talk about this. If you look at the bottom, the branding on that says The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah. So I was scouring forums today, and a lot of the chatter that I was seeing was that I think it was InArt Studios was making statues, or someone, I forget what the company was making other No Way Home products, and they were having problems with an actor not giving any likeness rights. And that may be one of the reasons there was a holdup. I don't know if it's true. I don't know where they heard it from. But it's interesting that people who have the prior Andrew Garfield figures, the ASM 1 figure did have a Peter head sculpt. The ASM 2 figure did not. The ASM 2 had his little jacket and the beanie and the scarf for when he was like sick as accessories. So there are people I've seen on forums that are saying that basically the head we're getting is just a repainted, like a more sophisticated painting of the ASM 1 sculpt. Like that, it doesn't look like No Way Home Andrew Garfield, that he's not thick enough in the face or have enough wrinkle lines. I don't have an Andrew Garfield Hot Toy, so I'm totally fine with this because it's my favorite live action suit. And so there's also people wondering if it was cheaper to put this under an Amazing Spider-Man 2 license, since that's probably cheaper to get than a No Way Home license. Because in addition to dropping images of this today, they have a Days of Future Past Wolverine from 1973, because people are clamoring for a figure from 2014, I guess. An Obi-Wan Kenobi that looks nothing like Ewan McGregor.
Everything is coming full circle, Javi.
And then
2014 is retro now.
They have a No Way Home diorama base of the lizard, which are the other photos I sent you. So it's a Spider-Man from Amazing 2, but there's a lizard base from No Way Home. And the Amazing 2 figure, you can see there, he's just got the standard web lines and hands. They don't show it in that photo, but he's supposed to come with a mask for him to hold. They show it in one of the other ones. So when he doesn't have it on. But the lizard diorama base comes with the Midtown High water bottle that they put the lizard formula potion in. So in their lizard photos, they show Spidey, holding that ready to administer it. But the lizard is No Way Home branding.
That's crazy.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll get Toby next week I'm surprised that this came out today, to be honest. I was expecting all this stuff to get revealed during Comic-Con.
Right.
But they're also doing their Sideshow Con right now. And so this isn't up for sale at Sideshow yet, but I was trying to look at it on the actual Hot Toys website, and that thing was crashing on me. It said it was overloaded. anytime I try to look
Yeah,
at the Andrew
makes
Garfield
sense.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
That base is legit though. Like that.
yeah,
God, that looks good. Like straight up looks really good. The lizard base.
and I like that they've got some electricity, so it can tie in if you decide to get the Jamie Foxx Electro. But if you don't, I mean, you still have two of his villains represented in that one diorama.
Dude, if
But
they started getting hot toys, I would be bankrupt.
I'm hoping with that we get to see
guys have
Toby
money?
and that there's a Sandman base of some kind.
Yeah, that'd
Since
be
we're already
good.
getting
Watch it
Hawk
like
and
Spider-Man
Goblin.
2 somehow.
But see, Zach, here's the thing: is like these things take so flippin' long for them to make, and if you do like the payment plan, I mean, I put a down payment on the Batman, and that thing's not coming out until like September of 2023. So I put down my $20 non-refundable deposit. I haven't even made a payment on it yet. So. And the Thor one that just dropped for Love and Thunder, that's like, I think Q4 2023.
Yeah,
Like-
I know with these, like that, like this and the Mafex thing, or Mafex as well. In both cases, they take so long,
Yeah.
which is into what I was going to tell everybody. If you've got pre-orders for the stuff we've talked about a couple of episodes ago, the new stuff that's dropping, the 2-pack with Spinneret and Peter, the 60th anniversary Spider-Man. I think the Rhino figures are already been shipped. They were supposed to be shipped next month. So a lot of people that were expecting these pre-orders to hit the end of the year are now getting them during Comic-Con season, which is really good. I think that they had done that as kind of a buffer because of the supply chain situation. Yeah, Joey says, I really wish they would redo the.
No, he's right. It did not look great. It wasn't that much, in my opinion, it wasn't that much better than the whoever made it, the Toy Biz one that was, had a cloth suit and the rubber mask you could take off. It wasn't much better than that. I mean, it was better than that, but you couldn't really tell.
Well,
But
not much.
in terms of like my Mafex stuff, I pre-ordered the black costume Spidey, and it was supposed to come out this month, and I got an email that it's now going to be here in September. So it's weird that that's getting bumped back, and yet the Marvel Legends stuff, like my Spinneret was supposed to come in December, and now people are going to be getting them soon.
Yeah, I got.
So you just don't know.
So I'm definitely really excited. I think I also had done a pre-order on the retro wave. I had done that like over a year ago, and they're going to start sending that out. So you may see more of the. It's weird because like I know the retro waves, the wave 2 went on clearance at like Walmart and Target, but I wouldn't be surprised if GameStop's not getting it too. Like won't like Think Inc. or GameStop's will be getting like the next shipment because that was very limited. I never saw a symbiote Spidey in the wild.
Nope.
The only 4 that I saw in the wild were the ones I ended up getting. I never saw the Spider Armor Mark 1. I never saw that in the wild. Those were the 2 I never saw.
Comic Shop still has 3 of them on the shelf. But they're like $32. I got Jack one off of Amazon for like 20. So
There you go.
Oh,
and usually I try and support my shop, but I was like, it's $12, guys.
Yeah.
yeah, you're making $12 profit. Like
Yeah.
Well, anymore. I mean, also they had a lot of Marvel Legends on sale for Prime Day yesterday. So go on Amazon and take care of your stuff. At least the craziness of like those retro card on like the groups has gone down. I said this last time we talked about it, but like somebody was trying to sell the symbiote Spidey for the same price as the Mafex symbiote figure, and I died laughing. Like I honestly thought the guy was joking, and he was not. He probably's got it still sitting on his shelf too. It's like, all right, whatever, buddy. So, all right, let's move on to what was the third topic? We had a third topic, didn't we?
No, we didn't actually. We spent a lot of time talking about things that weren't ASM related, but
been there, done that, Pinkman. I too was too broke to take advantage of Prime Day. All right, so let's move on to the issues. Issue
I'm
number.
I'm not doing recaps. I'm tired.
Wait to pawn that off on me at the last second.
All right, I'll do them. Hang on.
You can do the recap for 4. I'll do the recap for 5. Let's do that.
Okay. Okay. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 4, Legacy number 898. Guys, did you know that in order to make up for a plot, we're going to continually tease ASM 900? Guys, remember, ASM 900's here. Wow. Go buy ASM 900. $10. Anyways, written by Zeb Wells, line art by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, and colors by Marcio Menez. So the issue begins by basically pissing in every MJ fan's mouth as we open in her childhood.
Good God.
It's an accurate analogy because. Oh my God! What was that?
What?
You're not. Are you guys hearing the feedback? The echo?
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, MJ is putting. Stop that. Hang on. Who's muted? Hang on. I'm going to try and. Okay. I think we're good for now. Okay. So in Soho, MJ is tucking in. Jesus. Am I hearing the echo still? Hang on. I'm going to mute Zach real quick.
Yeah. So.
Do you remember that little redhead girl at the end of AS number 1 that called MJ mommy? Yeah, MJ still. It wasn't a one-off, at least not yet. So MJ's tucking her daughter, I guess, into bed, and she's like, "Well, there's a lady in the window," and it's actually Felicia. I think this is the first time she shows up in this run, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
Felicia looks like she's having a psychotic breakdown as she asks where Peter is, and MJ says that she hasn't been on speaking terms with him. And Felicia just runs away. Credits page. Peter manages to escape when Kareem. If you remember at the end of last issue, Peter was chained up downstairs, and Tombstone's goons were going to put a cap in his head. But Kareem busts in and gives Peter the time he needs to bust free and run away. No, he doesn't. He doesn't bust out. Kareem grabs the keys and knocks out one of Tombstone's goons, and frees Peter to stop Tombstone from taking out the Rose's henchmen. Meanwhile, in Harlem, Robbie is dragged into a broken down building by White Rabbit and is left in the room with Tombstone, who says that he is a loose end he's got to tie up. Peter manages to smash through a vault door and basically goes to town on what he thinks is the Tombstone's thugs before they can mobilize. He calls Randy and says that he needs to get his dad back because that he needs to get Robbie because Tombstone has Robbie. Peter basically makes it a running fight. I think he does a somersault into 4 guys, which is probably the most unique way I've seen him fight before. Eventually, the lights go out, and Peter. I love this line where Peter has basically webbed up all these other guys, and all these thugs come in, and Peter says, "Bad news, guys! No more web fluid." And I love the way John Romita Jr. draws that panel. It's beautiful.
That whole page is really good.
I've dunked on JR a bunch throughout this run, but that is a gorgeous page there. Anyways, the book begins to intercut between Randy and Peter as they go as Randy runs up the stairs and Peter continues to beat the absolute crap out of Tombstone's henchmen. And eventually Randy gets in and finds Tombstone and Robbie having, I guess, coffee and drinks over a very pleasant conversation. And Peter realizes very quickly that he's accidentally beat up the Rose. These aren't Tombstone's guys, and he's not in Harlem like Tombstone said he was. And he quickly realizes that Tombstone just played him, and he just won Tombstone's gang war for him, as Tombstone says that he left the job to the proper authorities as the issue ends. Okay. You probably didn't expect this from me. I'm giving this issue an A.
Gasp.
This issue was very Tombstone heavy, and the Tombstone stuff has easily been some of the best stuff in this book. It doesn't involve Peter being a sulky little bitch baby, which is a very big plus for me. And it does a very good job of advancing the plot while also giving Peter a reason to fight, even if it's not the one he thought it was. I loved the way that Wells kind of gives Tombstone like this Machiavellian Keikaku master vibe, where he tricks Spider-Man into doing his dirty work for him and keeping his hands clean. And I love the way Peter fights. Like I said, I love that page where Peter's just going to town on those thugs and saying like, no more web fluid means I get to cut loose for a little bit. It was a phenomenal issue. The only con I have is the MJ stuff. It felt like it was like rubbing our nose in the dirt for a bit without meaningfully advancing that plot line. We actually get more advancement on it in the next issue, which isn't a whole lot, but it's mostly Felicia stuff next issue. But I think that the way Wells handled this issue outside of that was phenomenal, at least in terms of pacing and continuing the plot. Let's go around the horn for grades. Javi, what's your grade?
A.
Ooh. Adam?
Yeah, I'll give it an A. You guys convinced me. I was leaning toward that anyway.
And Zach?
This is definitely an A for me. Sorry about the feedback that we had earlier.
It's okay.
You're fine.
I just think this issue really underscores Wells using Ramita's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
When Spidey's beating ass the way he does in this issue, Wells did a really excellent job. And the twist at the end is legit.
It's fantastic.
It really leaves you at the edge of your seat, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like,
oh, crap. Tombstone did that.
Yeah. And I forgot to change the numbers. 898 and 99.
Well, I love how in the last issue, when they've got Spidey tied up and one of Tombstone's men says something about whatever train it is.
Yeah.
And Tombstone gets angry and has to correct him. And he's like, no, we're in Harlem. It's this number. And he's like, yeah. And you're like, okay, that's weird. Whatever.
It's like what used to be like a weird comedy bit where Tombstone's like star screaming a bunch of his like the Megatron hitting Starscream for being an idiot. Like it turns from that into a really good, like in context, really good setup for that reveal. For the
reveal in this issue that the whole thing was a setup, and there's a level of desperation in this story as well that I don't feel like we've had in a while. Like I'm worried about like what's going on with Robbie and Randy, and Peter's trying to figure out
how to save
he's trying to multitask and delegate, like, okay, I need them to handle this because I got this, and this is, I'm here right now, and you feel like just that he's worried about all the people in the neighborhood, and that he won't be enough to stop it. And just there's a determination that we see with him that we haven't gotten in a while because he's been laid up in bed. So with the coma and everything, and we don't know what happened, but this feels like a big rebound moment for where Peter's been lately.
And frankly, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The further we get away from like yanking our chain with the what happened in the 6 months, what happened in the time gap, the further we move away. Sorry, fly. Sorry, the fly was back and it got right in my face.
Yeah.
But the further we get away from the further we get away from like teasing what happened in that 6 month period, the better the book becomes. Like when we're focused on the here and now, this book is really good.
But I'm going to push back on you a little bit because I didn't feel the MJ stuff was, them trying to piss off fans necessarily, or like I didn't feel like there was any malevolence behind it.
Right.
Like I'm just like intrigued about like, where is this going? Why is she doing that?
And
it gave us a really good MJ and Felicia scene, which I want to see more like that after we had that amazing MJ and Black Cat issue. Like I want to see more of their relationship and how they relate to each other, and the fact that they haven't really had the opportunity in these 6 months to touch base to where Felicia doesn't know what's going on. Like I really enjoyed that scene for that reason.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think the use of Felicia in this issue,
the next one,
this one especially too, is one of the best carryovers from Nick Spencer's run through Beyond.
Yeah.
Now here. This is the Felicia that we have not had really. I mean, we've had her obviously throughout Nick's run, but like definitely not. We didn't have this Felicia during the slot run, like straight up.
But we've got her in the McKay run.
Yeah, McKay's work with the Felicia character really did wonders for the characterization and stuff like that. So I just like this, making Tombstone a badass. Is like, okay, I haven't seen this level of badassness from Tombstone since DeMatteis was writing him in the early 90s.
Especially the way he's able to plan on such a multi-facet level. He's I appreciate that they didn't like just get rid of like the Tombstone Robbie Truce from Spencer's run. Like they still have him respectfully working with it, like he's gonna live with it, but he's still doing like his crime stuff. And I love the way he, like you mentioned, Javi, that Peter delegates and multitasks. Tombstone plays directly parallel to that. Like he's also multitasking and delegating what he's doing, and I think that that's a really good parallel that's not spoken of in the book itself, but that's implied through showing instead of telling.
This is the best Tombstone I've seen in general since Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. This is the closest I've seen that L. Thompson Lincoln. And
there's kind of in the next issue, there's kind of a slight reference to that, right? Kind of. Am I the only one who picked up on that?
I picked that up.
I said this last night on the comic binge. Like, there's a power vacuum right now after Devil's Reign, with Kingpin being out of the picture, and this is like the perfect time for Tombstone to come in and really show us what he's made of and fill that void right now.
Agreed, 100%.
And going back to the MJ stuff, I feel like the phrasing I used was wrong. More that it's like how fans feel they were treated, because like it does nothing to really move along that storyline. It's just, here's MJ with his child, and then they kind of vaguely allude to whatever happened in the 6 months. They didn't even really mention it. It's just like, Felicia's here, and I like the banter between Felicia and MJ. I think that's a really good continuation of their dynamic from McKay's issue. But on the other hand, it doesn't really do a whole lot to like either provide some answers or like a roadmap of where that plot point is going. It just kind of serves to kind of
but it's showing that she can be a mom, whether or not it's her kid or not. I mean, we really don't know. But it's showing the side of MJ that we don't really get to see, or that Marvel doesn't really allow her to be, unless it's we're talking about Spider-Girl. So
Yeah.
I appreciated showing that different side of her character, whether or not we have answers as to what the actual relationship is.
That's fair.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
something.
That's
too.
fair.
Yeah.
If MJ, for whatever reason, starts dating a guy and he has kids, and maybe the mom's not in the picture, having Javi and I can kind of speak from experience, being both divorcees. It's not surprising, and it's realistic. It's somewhat realistic if a kid gets attached to the significant other of whomever they're with, for them to call them, bonus mom or mommy or something like that.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that before, that like it's a very realistic way for MJ to not necessarily move on, but for her to be treated in universe by these kids who, like, everyone's like, oh, Paul's like this demonic entity that has her held, and it's like projecting. That's projection.
That is not there. The only problem with what you're saying, Zach, is that if these are stepkids, they sure look a hell of a lot like Peter and Mary Jane.
Yeah,
that's the only like hole in the theory right there.
Yeah,
but like it would be fine. It would be fine if these weren't MJ's kids. Like,
still don't know what the flash of light was at the end of Beyond.
Yeah,
right.
So again, this is where the MJ thing is going to probably be a slow burn for.
See, that's what I don't like about it.
I won that bet with Paul. He said this would be solved by issue 6. I said it was going to go for longer. I won that bet, and I feel some degree of pride, but also disappointment.
Yeah, we'll find out next issue.
But I mean, one of the things about Spider-Man, though, that's made him last for 60 years is his relatability, be it having to deal with financial struggles, being in juggling school and work, and having an extended family, or having kids to deal with. That's something a lot of people can relate to. And I mean, let's be honest, 12-year-olds aren't really reading these like they used to.
Yeah.
So I mean, the audience has grown up with Spider-Man, and I don't think it's a bad thing to reflect what real people have to deal with. But off topic.
Like the worst Paul is, to, as far as I can tell, the worst he's come across is just like that scene where he's with the debt collector and he's like, here's $1,500, leave this Parker guy alone for a bit, and like he seems a little possessive, but like other than that, he seems like a fairly decent person, and I feel like it takes away from like, oh no, if we have to have Peter and MJ move on, let it just be like not like something that has to be like dragged out as like an epic saga. Just let it happen. Like, let MJ find. It wouldn't be my first choice, but if we have to, just let her move on to a relationship that isn't like just alluding to, oh, she's being held hostage by Mysterio.
This is okay. Again, this is where there's a certain segment of the fandom that if it's not the way they want it, if they're not getting what they want in regards to MJ and Peter, then they are going to gripe and moan and be upset. It is misguided at best.
And bad faith at worst, I think.
Absolutely. And they've got a... I think there's more to the debt collector thing than...
Yeah, Joey brings that up. I don't think he's a debt collector. I think there's something else to him. But I think in regards to Paul, he's just a normal dude. One who has way too much money in his Venmo account to make me financially secure. But as far as I can tell, he seems to be a fairly decent person who oh no, he has a healthy relationship with MJ. It's like people who got mad at, what is his face, Pedro, for his biggest crime was dating MJ and not being Peter.
Yeah, I mean that character. There was like nothing to that guy though. Too, he was like just there.
He wasn't like a firefighter or something.
That was it, and that's all we really knew about him.
Yeah.
I guess the assumption is people think he's like Bobby Carr 2. I made a joke in the review for the first episode of the season that he's Bobby Carr 2, Drugs and Kids Boogaloo, but I don't. As far as I can tell, he's just a dude.
He's just a dude. This is where, again, what's being shown on the page versus what's actual reality are. You cannot sit there and just start straining in your own headcanon on things that he's literally had to.
But to be fair, a little bit, this is like the big. This is
mystery,
all tying into the what did Peter do thing. So this is the big mystery. This is a piece of the big mystery. So it's like, what is going on with this? Why are there kids that look like Peter and Mary Jane here? Why are they separated? Why is where did this guy come from?
My main concern is that people are trying to, or it's sort of like where people make like conspiracy theories where it's like they connect way too many dots that aren't there.
That's fair
too. Occam's razor, when applied here, is just Peter did something and he and MJ broke up and she moved on to a guy with kids. That's the easiest point A to point B. I don't require like 26 different zigzagging points to get to. Paul is being held. Paul is Mysterio and he's secretly holding MJ hostage.
I just do think it was
family.
From what we know from issue 1, it was just weird that it looked like she was hiding in the closet, you know, or where hiding, like, and it was all hush hush talking to him, you know,
and for all
it was just odd.
And for all we know, it's that like she doesn't want the kids that see her as their mom to be seen talking with her ex-boyfriend who, for all they know, committed a war crime in Pennsylvania or something.
God. Yeah, again, this is where this is really the only sticking point with the 6-month jump thing. Otherwise, everything is done.
It's just annoying. The 6-month thing is annoying. Like,
it's annoying
because everything else, like Zach's saying, everything else is good. I think we all agree that the Tombstone stuff, especially
Tombstone
this
is
issue,
phenomenal in this book.
There was a huge sense of urgency for Peter to, like, you know, save people and try to prevent Tombstone's plan, and then the twist is great, and no one really sees it coming, and then you read the previous issues. And it's
everything
set
comes
up there.
together. It's brilliant.
It's so great, but then it's like the mystery. I mean, there's intrigue, but it also kind of drags it down a little bit because it feels like. I mean, are they going to talk about this next issue at all? I hope so.
Well, I mean, we have like 90 pages or something for the next issue.
Yeah, exactly. There's 90. Like, I hope they.
I mean, I don't know what the page count is, but I imagine
it's close.
$10. It's $10, so it's like 80 pages or something.
Yeah, so hopefully there's enough room to address some of these things as we move forward.
I hope so. But
like, other than that, like that 6-month mystery kind of dragging the overall quality down, these are still really good issues. And if they just said like 6 months have passed and Peter and MJ just broke up off screen or something, it would be a lot easier for me to kind of just say like this. I recommend this run, even though I wouldn't be happy that Peter and MJ have broken up. They wouldn't be like stringing us along with like, ooh, what happened? How did Peter passing a kidney stone cause a nuclear explosion? What's this Paul dude? Just live with the fact that like normal people do normal things, and like people move on. It's not what I would have done, but like you do what you do. I don't know what else to say about that.
Could be argued though too that after Spencer's Run and Beyond, you know, there was nothing to move on from. If anything, they should still be together right now.
That's part of the
problem. But the 6-month thing.
And I really feel like, and I know I've said this somewhere else before, that it's a matter of timing. If this story didn't come after the bait and switch of the end of Spencer's run, and if it didn't come after the Beyond storyline, and if it wasn't coming out during, you know, whatever is going on in the world right now, where we're having paper shortages and shipping problems, and it was making its dates,
They've already said like
this would play.
But next week's books are being delayed, so
Yeah, I mean, it would play a lot differently if this was a different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
If some kid 10 years from now picks this off the, I'd say the library shelf, but God knows we'll have libraries in 10 years. But, reads it from whatever Comixology has become or Marvel Unlimited's become, just as a trade, like, I think it's going to be a different experience.
Yeah. The Comixology has only one room to go, apparently, and that's down.
Rest in peace.
I really agree with that. I really, really do. It's going to be, again, I think the shipping, after getting basically weekly Spider-Man for well over 2 years now, to get it to where it's semi like once a month or twice a month again is kind of hurting. I think the pacing, especially of this book, if this had came out over 2 months or 2.5 months, I think people wouldn't be griping as much. But the fact that there's been so much delays, it's interesting to me with that. But yeah, I just think that this was a really, really, really good penultimate issue to the arc.
It's the best issue so far
that we've talked about.
Issue 1 was really rough, but that's because it relied so much on that mystery to kind of carry the plot forward. But like once we got past that and past the bait that was issue 2's cover, the book really started to pick up the pace.
I don't disagree. This has been pretty well paced, and I think it's going to read much better if you're reading this like on Marvel Unlimited or in the trade. I think it'll read really well. I think this is, and it's not anything to say that obviously John Romita Jr. being involved is definitely a plus. This is some of the best work he's done in years, but I think that's also Scott Hanna. And
much better inks than the way he's gotten for the last couple of years.
Absolutely. I think Scott Hanna knows Romita's strengths and his weaknesses because they've worked together on and off for so long. I'm
not gonna lie though, like I've seen some of those when John Romita Jr. he's like on Instagram or Twitter and he's like showing himself drawing some of this stuff. His pencils look really good before the ink, so I think he needs a good inker.
I'm blaming Klaus Janson for all the shit that he went through after Avengers.
But I also think that when it comes to his art, there's certain characters that it's like he connects with.
Yeah.
He definitely connects with Spider-Man. Like that Marvel Unlimited 60-year panel thing where they had like 3 different sections and it was like DeMatteis was on it, and then they had an artist panel with Ramos and Romita Jr. and Quesada, and then they had a panel with Slott and stuff. Romita Jr. was just so passionate about Spider-Man. It was like, wow.
Well,
it makes sense because,
I mean, he's described him as his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truthfully. And I think because he watched, I mean, think about this. If your earliest memories with your dad being hunched over the table and you as a kid get to see the Spider-Man stories before anybody else, I mean, we're all fans. And can you imagine if that was our lives, So I think there's such a big connection because
and that Romita's style defined Spider-Man until McFarlane. We're talking decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, until McFarlane came in and kind of disrupted acted as the disruptor of the industry. And which is I'm not saying that is a negative thing. I think, him and Image and everything like that, it's proven that, the industry was kind of getting a little stagnant. But even when McFarlane was there, and even in post McFarlane, Romita's influence was massive. The only thing that Romita did, he started drawing the bigger eyes. I mean, on everything. That was the only difference. And it's like, it's impressive to me how much I'm not surprised there's the connection that there is. So let's get to the final issue of the night, issue 5. I don't know why I said we were covering 3 issues tonight. Neil,
I'm setting you straight, buddy.
that was my bad, man. I've had a weird few weeks. Okay.
Yeah, well, we all have. So.
And today was a hell on earth type of day. Like everything that could go wrong today at work went wrong.
Yeah, I felt that. I was stuck in a warehouse with no AC for 5 hours. So
the only thing that worked right today was the AC. Everything else work related was we had these 12 pieces that we were working on, and I had to basically do them twice. And these things probably weigh about 60 pounds a piece.
Oh shit!
And so we were having to redo them because even though we had 5 people doing the same job together, like because I've got 3 new people that were kind of training, I assumed that they had caught on to what I have been training them on for the last several days, and they had not, and so made us have to do things twice. So that's that.
So let's talk about ASM for a bit. So I'll do the recap. I've had some time to.
I can do it.
I'll do it. I've got myself amped up now. So
you're back. All right, he's back amped up. All right.
Yeah, I was a little mellow after Marvel Legends news, but I've got myself back in the zone. So let's go.
Wow, Joe.
So ASM number 5, once again written by Zeb Wells, art by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, and colors by Marcio Menez. So in Midtown, Kareem. This is Kareem, right? Or is I think it's Kareem. I don't know.
I think it is Kareem.
He kind of draws all the crime boys the same. But Kareem is driving Digger through Midtown, and they see a massive police arrest of all these members of the Roses gang, including the Rose himself. And Kareem and Digger make a massive getaway. After the credits page, Peter is on the rooftop lamenting what happened, and again, a gorgeous page. And if you're reading this on digital, a beautiful transition from Peter clenching his fist to Tombstone smirking over his very convenient victory to the rest of the crime bosses of New York. Let's see who we've got here. We've got Tombstone, White Rabbit, Madam Mask, Black Mariah, Hammerhead. I think it's Diamondback, right? Either that or it's Cotton.
Yeah.
It's Diamondback? Okay.
Diamondback, I think, yeah.
Mr. Negative, and I don't know who the last guy on the left is. Does anyone know?
I don't have it up in front of me.
Those might just be, I think those are just... Oh, wait, yeah, I don't know.
But after White Rabbit commits an HR violation against the Crime Master, Hammerhead and Hammerhead is kind of pressing Tombstone on... Did you work with Spider-Man on the Rose's boys? I'm muting Zach. You had that echo again, buddy. But basically, everyone is like, we've got all our product to push. Let's get back to business. In Alphabet City, we get some more Felicia follow-up. She apparently has been looking for Peter for a while. And the debt collector is like, hey, you want to get together a little bit later? Only to find out that she's gone and has gone to flirt with the true Giga Chad, Peter Parker with a warped face. Seriously, he looks like melted plastic. What happened? Peter is kind of basically saying, like, go away, Felicia, leave me alone. And Felicia's like, no, your heart's broken, and you've been hurting ever since Beyond Corp. And Peter says that he's like, I appreciate checking in on you, but I got to do this on my own. And Felicia's like, I know. But if you ever get a little bored, give me a call and I'll let you chase me around a little bit. And the next day, Peter, instead of lolling around and just kind of being listless, Peter's up and at him at 6 o'clock. He's going to work. He's found Tombstone. He's tracking Tombstone shipments, and he has an idea. So later that night, at the Rose's former hideout, Kareem and Digger are hiding around, waiting for things to cool down. And Peter kind of just wanders in the front door, and as Peter webs up Kareem, he gives Digger some important information. Meanwhile, on Long Island, Randy and Janice and have just finished having brunch with Tombstone and Robbie. And as they leave, Tombstone goes back inside and realizes, oh crap, Spider-Man is in my house. What is going on? And Tombstone's like, it would be a shame if anybody found out that you were working for me, even if it was by accident. And Peter says, you know what? I like this idea. Let's keep this going, and maybe I'll start trimming down the competition for you. Very spectacular spider. Like it's sort of like a what if Peter accepted Tombstone's offer and spec.
Exactly.
That's what it reminded me of. And then unfortunately, Tombstone receives a phone call from White Rabbit that Peter gave up the location of Tombstone's product to Digger, and he's going on an absolute rampage. And Tombstone gets the message and says that Peter's like, you know what? I took to heart that lesson you told me back in issue 3. I hate you didn't get what you needed, Lonnie. I really do. After a little staring contest, Tombstone says, you're a weird dude. Get out of my house. And eventually later on, in our final scene of the book, it cuts to Aunt May's apartment where she's looking disappointed over an empty chair at dinner until she hears a knock at the door. It's Peter. And Peter kind of does a half-ass explanation as to what happened to his face. And they make up.
Aunt May kicks him out, and then Peter finds out he's homeless.
Peter's
He told me.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, that was what 4chan told me. So, but Peter and May make up, and Peter says, as the issue closes, "It's good to be back." Then the letters page. Javi, you made it to the letters page. How does it feel?
Woo! Awesome, man. It was only like my 9th letter since like the Spencer run.
I think at the Spider office they have our names on a card. They have our names on like a bingo machine, and like they roll one out. I was like, damn it, it's Javi again.
Thing on that. I think the fact that we actually are taking the time to write the letters, and not that we're like, we're well known on the internet, guys, but we're taking the time to write it. And I don't know if people are doing that nowadays.
I mean, there's 2 pages of letters in this.
Yeah,
unfortunately, one's from the Chi-Town Spidey. I was hoping I'd have the issue all to myself.
Oh yeah.
And no, I
and
got
later on, someone saw, oh shit, it's Javi.
I'm saying that in jest because
look, I love Pete, and especially the troll job that he gives Mark Alford. Because Mark has tried so hard to get published, and he has not been successful at all. Meanwhile, Chi-Town's like making it rain with letters pages.
Like I've literally written, this is like my 9th one, and I think this is his 9th letter that he's had printed in Amazing Spider-Man.
Jeez.
I think that's what he said. So I'm just happy because
I think they choose. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I've got one in Sensational from like the Gathering of 5. So
nice.
To be in the main book, I was pretty stoked to finally get in there.
But, I think they choose Peter as often as they do because he's fairly emblematic of the opposition to their status quo, and so they use him as kind of like a sounding board. That's my conspiracy theory, but I think he is.
I think he wasn't in opposition during the Spencer run, though.
Exactly, yeah.
That's true. I guess mainly because he's had 2 letters this run, though, so that kind of in 5 issues. So that tells me that like they're seeing it and want to address it.
Well, no. To be fair, or in the first issue, he didn't have a letter; he just got name dropped.
Yeah, he got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then we had the letter from or not a letter. We had the story about the staffer's son who was a first responder, and then we didn't have a letters page in 3.
Right.
Or was it 4? Or maybe 3 and 4 we didn't have letters.
I think it was 3 and 4. I never saw a letters page in those 2 issues.
So my thing is I'm excited for Pete because that Pete's letter was a well fashioned. But he didn't. The funny thing is about Pete's letter is he didn't even answer the question,
which has irked him to no end.
I'm not gonna lie, and I love you, Pete, but I think that's just perfect. Like they're not going to sit there and show their hand in the letters page on, man. Like,
They're telling the story.
this is where I know people from other shows are going to disagree with me. Let them tell the story at this point. They've got a story they want to tell. Whether or not I like it or not, I will call it like I see it, like I always have. But I'm going to let them tell the story. I disagree. Look, Nick Lowe, as much as I despise the end of Beyond, and trust me, I despised it.
I can confirm this.
For the most part, since Slot's departure, and even like in the tail end of Slot's Volume 4 run, I felt like Nick Lowe has done pretty good. Like, when they went back to the legacy numbering with Slot, I felt like it was kind of like, all right, they're started to feel more like Peter Parker. Other than like the whole Mockingbird relationship, which I thought was just the stupidest thing. But like, for the most part, it felt like we were getting, like Nick Lowe was like kind of getting the ship ready for, Nick Spencer. They've done more good over the last couple years than bad. So I'm willing to give them more of the benefit of the doubt. I don't feel like it's an abusive relationship like some do with Marvel.
Yeah.
I think there's some fundamental disagreements. And trust me, when we get to the event later on this fall, I will systematically, profoundly, I may do a whole YouTube video of why I think the chasm thing doesn't work based on what they've done already. Like, but we'll see.
Is anyone familiar with Mark Waid's run on The Flash, particularly like the first couple of story arcs?
Yeah.
All right. So monthly, like, they have a little letters page in the back, and they kept the editor, Brian Augustine, would make like little remarks signing off, like getting on the 310 to hell and boarding the 310 to hell, and taking a seat on the 310 to hell. And they explained it at the end of The Return of Barry Allen, because they had built up Wally from issue 1, and not necessarily Wade, but the other people before him, and they didn't want to do an about face and have Wally just be a different character acting differently. They had to gradually shift him to be the hero that they wanted. And one of the things that they would always get asked would be to bring Barry Allen back. So Mark Waid, they came up with an idea of how to do that, but they knew it was going to piss everybody off. And so they called like their plan, like they're getting their tickets to go on the train for the 310 to hell, or 510, whatever the time was. I don't remember. And during that story, like, so many people got pissed off because Barry Allen was back and everything seemed fine. And then 2 issues later, he started acting a little weird, and then a little weirder. And then he was like leaving Wally to die. And then he started trying to take over Central City, and he was robbing banks and setting prisoners free. And now all of a sudden Barry Allen's a villain, and people were pissed because they didn't want their hero brought back to life in this way. But you get to the end of the story and you find out why all that happened and what's the real deal with Barry Allen. And it was amazing. The Flash 79 is probably my favorite comic book of all time for a lot of reasons, but you had to give them that time to tell that story. And when you see the whole big picture, like, it all made sense and it was perfect. And I'm not saying that this storyline is going to be perfect. I have no idea. It could fall apart like so many of these things do. But you can't just judge a movie by like 10 minutes of the film, and you can't judge the story by one issue or one scene. Like you're saying, Zach, you've got to let it come to completion before we start judging it, before you start, getting the pitchforks ready.
Look,
my worry. Oh, sorry. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Yeah.
My worry is that Wells won't get the time he needs to put out his full run, because I think I don't remember who said it, but I think there was a rumor going around that, like, I think it sold about Wells' ASM run sold about 100,000 copies on number 1, and then it had a sharp decline afterwards. Like, the number 1 and the number 2 decline is like a proven thing, so it's not like a surprising thing. But like the relaunch selling like 100,000 copies is not good, and I'm worried that is not going to have stable enough sales to get far enough that Wells is going to get a chance to tell the whole story.
But
then it's canceled prematurely.
Yeah, but I think right now, look, now that Wells is not tied to a writer's room and trying to be the senior writer, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, because this is now his it's his first time not tied to a writer's room writing Spider-Man since his first run on Peter Parker back in the day. And even then, he was just writing as a fill-in. Like, he was basically filling in the time while Jenkins and Ramos were crafting the Spectacular launch. So this is him getting to do to put his stamp on. I understand, Joey, your comment here. It says the pacing on this is slow in the dark. I think that's partly the artwork. I think that's a little bit. There's a deliberate means of why. But again, this feels like, in a lot of ways, the Coming Home successor in a lot of ways, like how the JMS run started.
I've thought about that. There's similarities.
Now that you bring up the Coming Home parallels, Peter doesn't get back with MJ, obviously, but something that stuck out to me was the chemistry that Wells gives Peter and Felicia. Like, obviously, I don't think it's going to go anywhere unless Wells surprises me and Peter and Felicia get back together, in which case I'll try it out and see what happens. But I think that Wells did a really good job of showing Felicia caring for Peter in a fairly platonic way, but also kind of keeping the door open for revival of their romance.
Felicia's not about sex, but she is going to be flirtatious.
Like the maybe I'll let you chase me around a little bit. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but like Wells did a pretty good job of keeping it vague enough that if readers want it, he can do it if he wants to.
I agree with that. I think also the flirtation aspect, I think it's just that's Peter and Felicia's
entire dynamic.
Yeah.
That's their love language to each other, in the sense of it's their dynamic, it's how they communicate, it's how they show each other that they care. Peter doesn't see. And even if you tie this in, like the stuff that I didn't like with Peter during Brand New Day, I'm sure that there's that element with Peter that, I can be, I could be with Felicia tomorrow. She doesn't love me. She loves the mask. And I think that Peter always knows that. She loves the mask. She loves the heroic side of me more. And it'd be very, very hard for him to be open and vulnerable with Felicia, because that's the wall he established in his brain. I think Felicia now could be more open and vulnerable with Peter.
Especially after the development McKay has given her.
The development that McKay has given her. But also, when Peter willingly tells her again, and everything comes
back,
and everything makes sense, and I think that exposed a vulnerability to Felicia that Peter probably hasn't seen, and I do feel like that this issue probably one of the best. Again, we've had really great Felicia scenes for a couple years now, and it's so nice. This was a really big flaw of like Brand New Day slot.
It's like let's have sex with the masks on.
Yeah.
That was awful.
And I love you, Brad, but I'll never forget Donovan.
Oh God.
Literally going to, like during the review one day, going, "I know you think she's about sex, but you're bleeping wrong." And it's like, it's true. Like she has sex appeal in this issue. She's got sex appeal.
Like even with the debt collector, he's like, "Hey, you want to,
Yeah, exactly. Like she's got sex appeal."
But like I like that it's not reserved. It's not reserved for Peter. But like she has the she's not like some like sex maniac who can't control herself. She's very aware of it, but doesn't like go out of her way to make it a central component of her character arc or of her character.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was a Brand New Day arc, this would have been one of the better ones. Like at least the top 10% of Brand New Day stories.
I'll say this, and because like I started kind of briefly thumbing through some of the early Brand New Day stuff in preparation for the debates, and Zeb Wells' arc was actually pretty good. The one with Pachalo and the snow monster, I thought was really pretty well done. I thought that was some of Pachalo's best Spider-Man work ever. But it's also
Joey's is correct that the best Black Cat was in Marvel Knights. The problem is we will never get like not necessarily never get another Marvel Knights quality book, but that particular characterization is long gone.
But I think part of that is coming back.
Yeah,
like the frenemy element of and the banter with MJ and Felicia. That's something that's there now.
It feels a lot less passive aggressive. At least there's more of a casual respect rather than like a passive aggressive like wife and ex-girlfriend dynamic than Molar had.
It's like I think the dynamic now is
genuine friends,
but also understanding that MJ is what Peter needs, but Felicia is what Spider-Man needs. And because those two elements are akin to the same two sides of that same coin, I think that they understand that it's no longer just the jealousy, because in the 90s
they really pushed that jealousy angle and it wore out.
She dated Flash just out of spite.
Yeah.
Towards Peter. Because she's pissed off because Peter ran off and got
married.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to use a personal reference.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's as if the bitter, angry version of my first ex-wife, Ashton, when I got remarried, she could have easily been bitter and angry, and because like that version of her was very much like you'll never find better than me, vindictive type ofness, and that's where Felicia was with that. And now it's like Felicia understands, I think, has a level of understanding of why it didn't work with Peter, but there's still going to be that genuine love for him. What's our grades, guys?
I'll give this an A-. My main gripe, and I think that Joey is correct that this arc was slow, or that this part of the arc was. The main action happened last issue. There was still some this issue, but it was more so focused last issue. This issue was kind of more tying everything up and putting a little bow on it,
which I like that actually.
It was good, but it definitely doesn't have the same frantic energy that the last issue did.
This is way more chill and
and Peter kind of using Peter kind of having a minute to not be on his adrenaline,
right.
and using the time he has more effectively rather than like having to delegate and multitask. He's allowed to kind of he's giving himself some time to breathe and putting his life back together in the process, which I appreciate. Like, I'm glad that they're not going out of their way to like make him constantly miserable. Yeah. But like he's able to more effectively make judgment calls that ultimately benefit him in the long run. Like the bit with Tombstone where he uses the same strategy and gets Digger to attack Tombstone's shipments was a very well put together scene that only came together because of the slow pacing. And when you get to that really energetic like fight scene between Digger and Tombstone's thugs, it really hits home. Like, Peter put a lot of effort into this. Good work.
Yeah, I like that he kind of plays the mental game instead of the cover leading us to believe that there's going to be a big brawl. But
comics.
Yeah, but I mean the cover's great because that's what happens in the issue, just in an alternate way.
Yeah,
it's a mind game where Peter uses his brain because he got played.
He got outsmarted, and now he's
using the same tactics. He learned
time to think.
He learned from his mistakes.
Yeah, he took time to think, and he played it back on Tombstone.
And I'm glad that the 4chan leak about the issue was absolute bullshit. Javi, I messaged Javi. I'm like, have you seen the spoilers? And he's like, no, I haven't. What happened? And I'm like, Peter's homeless. And I'm like, oh, we're just doing the Mackie run again.
It's like a weird amalgamation of JMS and Mackie, like a Bizarro one. But dude, the 4chan never gets the leaks right unless
sometimes they do. They got
unless they have the actual pages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because I remember the Superior leaks, man. I remember people were saying that like Superior was going to be Miguel and Peter was going to be depowered.
Remember? Does anyone remember the Death Bolt from ASM 74?
No,
that was amazing. Guys, Peter's gonna get struck by a death bolt saving Aunt May.
But yeah, I like the contrast between this issue and the last one. Like Neil's saying, like there was, and like I said about 4 earlier, and Javi said about 4 earlier. 4 had a real sense of urgency and danger, and it was a big brawl, and it's Peter being a badass, but he gets played. And then this one, he recollects himself, gets his bearings, turns the tide on Tombstone, makes up with Aunt May. Like Neil said,
I did appreciate that Peter and Aunt May made it. Like, I'm glad that they're not like keeping Peter's miseries like the status quo.
Dude, because it's not fun, really. Like, he can't be miserable all the time. It's just not fun.
When you're playing up, he's a loser. This guy's you're a loser. You're the loser. Which was what a lot of what I felt like happened with Brand New Day.
Because sometimes, like, he has, his hard luck moments, but he's not a failure, Like, why would we want to read about someone who's just a failure all the time? It's not interesting. It's just...
It's true. It's just depressing.
It's miserable. Yeah, I don't want to read that.
Yeah. What's your grade, Adam?
I don't know. Probably between an A- and an A.
All right. Adam's grade. I'm putting A-. Javi, grade?
I am going to go with an A+, and I'm going to tell you why.
Uh-oh.
Because
tell me, Father Javi.
My bar was set so low by that guy in the corner over there with his 4chan leaks. When I read the issue and what he said was going to happen didn't happen, I love the issue even more because it was such a good ending to the story. And to echo what Adam was saying, like it was a different type of battle that we got this time because we just had the high octane issue last time. And this concluding chapter was just nothing but like characterization from everybody. And I love the Peter and Felicia stuff. and just to see them be friends. Like I want to see them be like close friends who have this bond. And I liked how just Spidey's attitude when he confronted Tombstone in his house, just the body language that JR gives him.
Yeah. And
I
even
mean,
like
it just-
even Digger at the warehouse, he's just like,
Where's
Hey,
the
guys.
rose? Someone please find the rose.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's
love
just-
Digger was consistently even in the first issue. Digger was consistently a great part of this arc.
Digger,
I wouldn't have thought that.
yeah, Digger, like the whole opening scene with Digger in the ice cream cone.
Forget you saw the cone.
We haven't had an ice. Do you know how long it's been since we've had an ice cream cone? Okay, like just let me have
this.
what I do like too, actually, real quick, is that it's totally bookended by the first issue, the Peter and Tombstone conversation, and then the this issue, the Spidey and Tombstone conversation, both end the same way.
I like that in the first issue, Peter's smugness is what gets him in trouble with Tombstone. Like that kind of smugness of like Peter gunning for Tombstone is what gets him in the hot seat in the first place.
Yeah,
but at the end of the arc, Peter's back on his feet. He knows what he's doing, and he's using it. And his smugness feels a lot more earned when he's like sitting there. He's owned Tombstone with facts and logic, and he's just sitting there. And he's like, "I really feel bad for you, Tombstone. I guess you didn't think you'd get owned by me." And Tombstone's just like, "Get the hell out of my house."
I think they did a really good job of setting up something that's been sorely lacking for several years now has been the street level element of Spider-Man. Everything has felt like it's got to be the end of the world, and even
Kindred felt like that at the end of the day, which really sucked.
Developed into that. I mean, we got kind of the friendly neighborhood aspect of Peter Parker early with Spencer, which was needed. But like
that's what I'm saying is that it eventually devolved into like, oh my god, the portal to hell is going to explode.
Yeah, it became the end of Angel after like Wolfram and Hart and all that stuff. I'm going to give this an A as just a straight A. This is again pretty solid. I didn't like the first issue, guys.
I don't think, did any of us?
I liked it.
Did.
Okay.
Issue. Yeah. But I was pleased. I've been pleasantly surprised when I've been reading these issues when they've been able to come out. I'm like, all right, all right, Wells, I see you.
Pretty good turn. I had the first issue with a really bad taste in my mouth. But you know what? I'll give Wells this. He's managed to turn it around. I'm not
stuck
looking
the landing.
My main concern is what comes after this. Like, I'm not looking forward to 900 because that's just gonna be like one big fight scene with the Sinister Adaptoid.
Yeah,
and then after that we're getting the Osborn stuff, and then I know I mentioned I liked the Hellfire Gala one shot, but I don't care about what's gonna happen with Peter and Wolverine in that arc. So, and then I don't care what's happening in the Judgment Day tie-in either. So,
yeah, we'll have to do like on the Patreon side of things. We'll have to definitely try to break that down a little bit and go from there.
And I will be covering this issue on Books of X whenever we get around to this time period in the release schedule.
Definitely.
But
Neil,
he went on a character arc, which is why I wound up grading it so high, because there was a progression of his character where whatever happened in that 6 months, I'm putting that off to the
side. Dragged him down to his lowest.
Yeah, and we saw him bounce back from that, which is like what some of my favorite Spidey stories do. Be it, Spidey strikes back from the Lee Ditko stuff to, Peter Parker 75 at the end of the Clone Saga. Like, that's what I like to see him do. So
and I think I also did really like what the Felicia scene. Felicia calling him out, saying, "You're brokenhearted. Ever since the thing then, you're brokenhearted." Okay. At least we're acknowledging the fact that Peter didn't feel right with everything that happened in Beyond.
And this addresses kind of a concern I had with Beyond, was that nothing was going to really come of Ben becoming Chasm, and even though I'm not a huge fan of them tying him so heavily to X-Men with like Dark Web and stuff, like Chasm being teamed up with Goblin Queen, at the very least, it feels like it feels like something is coming out of Beyond, to the point where like, oh hey, we're finally justifying what happened at the end of ASM 93. Something was finally happening. Yeah, even if I'm not happy with it, at least there is a result.
Yeah, it's kind of I to use another clone reference, because it's me. Bingo card. There you go.
Bam.
It's kind of like how New Warriors kind of just like the end of Kane's book happens, and it kind of slowly sets up New Warrior, like subtly sets up New Warriors, and then New Warriors happen,
and then it goes into Spider-Verse just out of nowhere.
It just like Kane goes, all right, I'm out, I'm abandoning all this, and
bye bitch.
Nothing, leaving Araceli to like get slaughtered by the freaking Inheritors.
And then like Slot like wrote later, oh, I guess she's okay, I guess, and now she hasn't done anything except being the champions.
Yeah. So again, at least it feels like there's a story that they're actually trying to craft, with starting with Beyond and moving forward. So at least there's some long-term building. What's your grade, Neil?
Oh, I already gave it. I gave it an A minus.
Gave it an A minus.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, was it A minus as well, right?
Yeah, that, or like a very low A.
Yeah. Okay. So A's all around on this episode. I'm pleasantly surprised.
So am I. This was kind of a surprise going. Like I wasn't expecting to be as I'm not looking forward to what's happening. But like as far as first arcs go, good work, Wells.
It was good. Yeah.
You had me in the first half. Not gonna lie, but
I think
pulled a good one on me.
I just thought that first issue was kind of bleak. I don't know.
Yeah, the constant misery was unappealing.
Speaking of,
it's not necessarily that like I didn't hate it, but it was just like it just seemed bleak.
Speaking of fresh surprises, we have some breaking news, and break the glass, guys. We got some breaking news. I don't have like
breaking news. What's the Keith Olbermann earth shattering news? God. Earth.
God, he's...
Anyways.
As I'm sharing my screen, looks
holy
like
crap.
What?
No, just what you had.
Peter 2. Hot Toys. Looks like it is on display. And looking at the background, looks like we got some pumpkin bombs, and that base looks pretty good.
Did we predict the future like in real time?
It looks like they're going to have the
there is some sand, Javi. There is some sand.
There's some pumpkin bombs. There's the grater. Looks like we got some electro stuff, but also you got the leg.
His stand says "Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man."
Yeah.
That's what they call him on the
McGuire, man.
Yeah,
on the Marvel website they call him that. And
yeah.
Andrew's amazing.
But it also has that looks like a No Way Home logo, right?
Yeah, it is a No Way Home.
And the one on the Garfield one is an Amazing Spider-Man 2 logo.
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
mean, it's still red, and it has his spider, and that one's Toby's. But
yeah, that's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're also getting getting the Holland Peter too. You can see Holland Peter's leg on the background too. So it looks like all three will be revealed.
They've shown a long time ago. There's like a regular one of like the integrated suit. Then there's a deluxe one that has the 4 arms, except he doesn't have the 4 arms with the integrated suit, because this was before the movie came out. So it's one of those, they didn't know exactly what was coming. And then they have another one that is what do they call it? It's not the advanced suit.
Oh.
The suit from the beginning of the movie, that's the Far From Home suit, but it's not, because it's missing those black things on the web belt.
Right. Yeah.
They have like a battle damaged version of that with this huge like base of like some statue he's standing on, and there's an unmasked Holland head, a partially masked Holland head. I think he's got the Doctor Strange box. But those are all, 2023 coming out at some point.
So, quick prediction on Comic-Con. I guarantee you're going to see the at least the digital renders of the Marvel Legends Peter 2, Peter 3. I would almost bet $100 you'll see that during the Comic-Con Hasbro panel.
I mean, otherwise, what have they been waiting for if it's not for that?
Well, yeah.
Right.
It'll be really interesting. I'm kind of fascinated because we haven't gotten recent leaks on the Marvel Legends side of things, but pretty much the only thing that they haven't released like from the leaks is the Spider Penny Parker 2-pack from Into the Spider-Verse. Everything else has been revealed more or less. So,
yeah, looking at the Hot Toys site, that base with the sand in the background and the Octentacles, that's for the integrated suit. That's still up for pre-order. That one's the deluxe is $425. But the collector edition is $285, which comes with that. And it doesn't even match the other base for Peter 2 and 3, so I don't know.
that's weird. All right.
But
Okay.
those are due January to March of 2023,
Barring anything unforeseen.
barring anything unforeseen.
Well, yeah, let me pull that base up. Share the screen. This is where I'm having my second screen.
There were problems too with the black and gold suit, and he's still available too on the site. He came out pretty quickly, like right around the time the movie did, and there's a lot of inaccuracies with the black and gold suit compared to the final product on the big screen.
Yeah, almost as if they were going off again. And that's the thing too. A lot of times you'll see like with a lot of the Marvel Legends stuff, there'll be like little inconsistencies because they were.
Well, even when we saw the pops, there were stuff with the pops that was not in the movie.
I swear, big. If you make a bingo card, I'm gonna laugh. So,
but yeah, that looks like the base that's in the background of the Toby figure. So, I'm sure they're gonna have them all. Someone's got them all displayed somewhere together, like they should be.
nice. Joey says they heard my prayers. We had a few more people jump on, and then they jumped off. Oh, sorry. But as I kind of feel like we can start wrapping things up. Neil, do we want to talk about Patreon changes, dates?
Yeah. We'll release a Patreon post on a public one. But basically, we're going to be changing a couple of the tiers and streamlining some of the rewards. Anyone who's already a patron, don't worry, you're not going to have anything. Because also how we have this $5 and $25 patrons. Don't worry, you're not losing anything that's actually in there. It's mostly just like streamlining what's there so people can read it properly.
Yeah.
But we will be adding a smaller tier and changing the middle tier. We'll go more into detail on that later.
Yeah.
But recently we just released our second patron exclusive episode. Well, the earliest one, or the ones that go early on Patreon. As far as exclusives go, we'll get to you on that later. We don't have any exclusives yet, but we might have one coming up.
So things with me are kind of been changing in the background, and I'm not going to get into everything until a little bit of some things have to line up first. Let me kind of get those things settled before I start talking about that out loud. And
But basically, I'll be working on the Patreon in the background, and we will keep you all up to date on what's going on. Books of X. Once I assemble my team, I've kind of got it all structured out. So once we get to that, we'll start releasing that Patreon early access. There will be a couple of episodes that are Patreon exclusive, but they will be accessible to relatively lower tiers of Patreon. So
yeah, so like $5 patrons,
$5 patrons get access to Books of X early, and then I believe I need to figure out how the $10 or how the new $10 feature works.
Yeah, but we're working on that. So we're going to go, I think, a 1, 5, 10, and the 25. We want some things that are closer to those 25 because we have, we want to make sure that those patrons are kind of
adequately rewarded for their contributions.
Exactly. So we will be doing some stuff. So just stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the background. In terms of updates on audio editions, those are coming. I want to apologize to our patrons for the Voices from the Eerie groups that have joined us because of Voices. Greg lost access to the patron, so I'm trying to get that back up. So y'all won't have early access to this upcoming episode that is coming out Friday, but moving forward you will. I can give you a tease though of a future guest. We had Jonathan Frakes on. There's another TNG actor.
Wait, I think I know. I don't actually know who it is, but I have an idea of who it is.
It's not Marina Sirtis.
Shit. I thought it was Sirtis.
It's not Marina, but it is an android.
Oh, it's Brent Spiner. Okay.
I wasn't going to say it out loud. You
don't say it when you got two Star Trek nerds in the panel.
I mean, you said an android, and you pretty much narrowed the field down to
one person.
Data or Lore or B4. We're all the same dude.
Yeah.
Or so, I guess Lol, the actress who played Lol.
Yeah.
That's coming.
But was she on Gargoyles?
Yeah.
Let me look.
He was the. I think he's the wizard that turns them into gargoyles.
He's Puck.
He's Puck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that will be September. That is set in stone. So I don't feel bad like revealing that. Jonathan Frakes was kind of very fluid because of his shooting schedule. Brent.
How dare he make more Star Trek episodes for us to watch?
Yeah.
How dare he make things I enjoy?
I'm going to get together with Greg, and I think we're going to talk about on just like a little fun little just us talking about behind the scenes stuff with Voices, and give that as like a Patreon exclusive. There's a story about the day that they interviewed Jonathan Frakes that is hilarious, but I don't feel like I can share it publicly.
Okay, so I just looked. Unfortunately, Haley Todd, who is Lol's actress, was not in Gargoyles.
Oh, okay.
Sad day. Was Michael Dorn? I think Michael Dorn was on there.
Yeah, they mentioned it. If you listen to Voices from the Eerie, you would know that they mentioned Michael Dorn. They also enticed him to come on the show.
Yeah.
Maybe listen to the episode.
Maybe if Greg offered to make the Captain Worf series, he'll do it.
Oh yeah. Look, speaking of Wiseman, be sure to be binging season 4 of Young Justice on HBO Max. They have not gotten any info on renewal, and
that Warner Brothers is in flux right now.
It's been very, very quiet.
Didn't they gut their animation department?
The whole situation right now is, I think everything is on pause while Discovery kind of evaluates what they want. The merger's complete, but I think that they're still trying to figure out. This feels very Time Warner-ish, AOL Time Warner type of merger situation. So I just think with like what Javi said, everything being a state of flux, but support the show. Also, I almost didn't mention this, but I need to. Spectacular Spider-Man is streaming on Netflix, US Netflix right now. You can watch it on Netflix. No, it does not mean we're getting a season 3, and no, just because it says new episodes does not mean that you have a season 3.
Also, it is in HD quality, so you don't have to have your Blu-rays to watch Spec in HD quality anymore.
Yeah, they pulled it from which is nice. So I honestly I'm curious as to whether they're going to do a 4K release. I was surprised they didn't do it during No Way Home, but I think that was partly because of the fact that everything was being moved around and all this shit.
Has Sony even put out like animation stuff in 4K other than Into the Spider-Verse? I mean, I don't know what animation they have, but
I know the MTV series. I don't think did they ever put that on Blu-ray?
No,
I don't think so.
Just DVD.
Yeah, because they put Spec on both DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and it was weird. They did DVD. They did Blu-ray first before they did DVD. They went back and did DVD because I guess.
No, they did DVD, but it was parsed out amongst 6 or 7 or 8 volumes. But then when the original one came out, they dropped a Blu-ray box set.
Yeah.
So
because the kids had a lot of the standalone DVDs when they were growing up.
Yeah, and if you have the first one, it's kind of become now a collector's item because it's the only one that has the extra scenes that they had put in.
I have to see if Jack still has it.
Yeah, because by the way, did you ever get that poster? Did I ever send you that poster?
No.
Okay.
It's all good though. Because we were always going to meet up at some point.
We were supposed to. That's why I never sent that. Yeah. So, but Javi will have the actual season 1 DVD, the first DVD poster. Eventually, I got to get to him. But seasons 1 and 2 both are up on Netflix. It's probably again that's part of phase 1 of the Sony Netflix deal. They're going to start putting all the stuff on Netflix. So they'll all be on Netflix, I think, for like a year or 2, and then we'll probably start seeing stuff on Disney Plus. Considering they got all the Netflix shows on Disney Plus, I feel like that Netflix and Disney are playing a little nicer with each other, so we'll see.
I thought other regions had some of the stuff. Like I thought
yes,
like Europe has like the Tobey Maguire movies, but
I think so.
Yet.
I think so.
Stars and
Stars. Usually Stars. Sony has it seems as if Sony has some kind of first streaming deal for No Way Home. No Way Home will be on Stars. Venom 2 is on Stars.
Yeah, I think that deal is expiring, I think, at the end of this year. And then I think the deal moving forward starting next year is that anything new, I think it may start with Morbius, truth be told. That all the upcoming stuff after this year will be on Netflix first. I think that streaming deal, that deal with Stars, because frankly, they're not getting a lot of traction with Stars.
Oh, also, Venkman mentioned MTV Man. We are planning on doing our commentary on MTV Man in the near future. I haven't figured out who I want to do the commentary with, but
I think it may be me, Javi, and you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And if Adam wants to do it, but we got to figure out.
Do it.
How to watch it all together.
The method of delivery. Yeah.
I have not watched that since it debuted on TV.
I rewatched it recently. It's aged weird. It's in some ways it's aged really well. In some ages it's aged.
Yeah. We watched it in the lead up, I think, to Homecoming. I showed Brooke Spectacular, which she loved. She doesn't like animation typically. And then we
Spectacular
watched
is
the
great,
MPD
man.
one, which she was okay with. I think because it had Neil Patrick Harris that helped her get into it. But the animation and the music is very 2003.
It's got a good voice cast, but the dialogue is like,
Yeah.
oh no. It's got the guy from Sharknado in it, so that's
It's Harry.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't in Sharknado. He was in 90210 first.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no,
He was.
Ian Ziering was in Sharknado. He's the
Yeah,
main character.
yeah, but he was in 90210 first. That
Oh,
was like
okay.
his big claim to fame.
90210 that he is for.
I just remember him from being the guy who fucking hacks a shark in half with a chainsaw.
There's our first F-bomb. Bingo!
Yeah, just as the episode ends.
All right, everybody. So I got some more great news with the Patreon. We got a new episode of ASM Classics dropping soon there, Javi.
Yes, it's been headed for like a week. I just need to find the time to sit and figure out how to post it to all the places.
We will. Javi and I will probably get together this weekend, and we'll get that done. Probably be next week. Tomorrow night, though, I'm going to have another episode of Make Mine Mayday here on the Spideydude Radio Network's YouTube channel. We're going to be covering the next 4 issues of Amazing Spider-Girl. We're covering 6, 7, 8, and 9. So lots of fun to be had with those 4 issues. Really excited about it, and can't wait to bring it to you. So we will be broadcasting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. Be sure to follow, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe, so that way you can keep up with the next episodes. I will be setting up the YouTube at least link for the next episode of Make My Mayday. We kind of have the schedule set for tomorrow's episode and the next episode. I think our next episode will be ASM 900. I think that's the plan.
I honestly think we could just dedicate an entire episode to ASM 900. It's big enough that it's it's what 3 issues worth of content.
Yeah. So I think we'll also be reacting to, because isn't San Diego in 2 weeks?
It's next week.
It's this weekend.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Right?
I think ASM
Next
900 is
week.
Or next weekend.
That's
Yeah.
next.
ASM
900
900 got pushed back a week because everything got pushed back a week. Good for us.
Adam, are you going to be at San Diego?
I will.
Oh, you're a man on the ground, Adam.
I'll do my best. I don't know. The schedule will be weird because I'm volunteering for the first time, so I'll have to do the shift each day, and then I can do whatever I want, I guess. Other than that, so there are Spider-Man panels, so I'll try to make it to some of them.
I'll talk to Josh and see if he's going to be able to be at the Marvel Studios Hall H panel, because that would be kind of fun. Because he's press, there's a special section that we didn't know about when I went in 2011, which would have been effing nice. Of course, in 2011, that was the year that Andrew Garfield came in with the store-bought suit.
Yeah. I was saying last night after the Comic Bin show that I got in probably right after he did that to that panel.
They scheduled that panel the same time as the comic panel, and Arun, who was chief PR officer with Marvel, couldn't make it. He goes, "What time is that panel?" He's like, "I hadn't double checked it," and I said, "Started 30 minutes ago." He goes, "Are you shitting me?" I felt bad. I felt like I was like, "Yeah, we selected, we picked." We were kind of conflicted because we were going to try to make that, and we picked the comic panel instead. And he's like, "Well, I'm glad you came to the comic panel, because that was when they did the Burning Hoodie." And it was literally dovetailing off my question about bringing back Ben Reilly. Lord, in 2011, if I had known what I know now. Sorry.
It goes for a lot of things.
Was that 2012 when Slot called in? Like, he wasn't on the panel, but he called in. I remember that happened.
He literally phoned it in. Like they had him on the phone.
I think that might have been 2012, right?
It was 2012 because
I
I remember
because the movie came out and Superior was on its way, but we didn't know yet. And,
yeah. Josh texted me during the panel and said, "You're not going to believe this. Slot literally phoned it in."
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, "What? Dude, were you at the 2011 panel?"
The 2011 one, no. The 2012 one, yes.
Okay, that's hilarious because we literally were like two ships in the night then.
Yeah.
How we missed each other. That's crazy. I did get to meet Eddie and Kristen though. Eddie D'Angelini, and they are the nicest, sweetest people on the planet. Like if I ever get a chance to go back to San Diego, and I'd love to, probably I will try next year. That's going to be two people that I'm going to try to link up with at least and try to grab dinner. I think we should all just try to go next year. I think that should be a thing. Let's do it.
But I think I said
San Diego.
I think I said it at the beginning of the episode, but it's funny because in 2012 Slot phoned it in, but now 10 years later he's actually on. He has a spotlight panel, and he's going to be on the 60 years of Spidey panel with Lowe and someone else.
Is Zeb Wells going to be there?
No, he's not.
Well, again, I think I'll say
maybe he is. I don't know. He's not listed though.
In his defense, when you're writing ASM, it's like writing 2.5 books.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're just like you're not writing anything else. You know, your entire focus is trying to make the deadline. So
Spencer was there that first year, I'll say.
And then he
We're still post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with being post-pandemic, you know,
we're still, I mean, not even post-pandemic. We're still pandemic.
Yeah.
Yep. Almost the endemic stage of the pandemic, but you know, fingers crossed. But there is a new variant coming, so we'll see how that goes this fall. But yeah. Speaking of people that would be on Comic Bench YouTube channel, where you had both Adam and Javi on the Spider-Man Council monthly.
I was talking about Captain America. That was a fun time.
Yeah, Neil's been on there.
We talked about Radiant Black too.
Oh, yeah, we did. Wait, was I there?
Yeah, you were there.
Oh shit! It's been like a year, dude. I can't remember.
I think you've talked about Silk on the channel too with Paul.
Yeah, just that first arc of Goose run of Goose Mini.
So we will be simulcasting. That the plan is next month. We will be simulcasting on both here and on the Comic Binge YouTube channel. I will be on. I just did not. I had too much going on yesterday. It's been a lot of. I had my dryer try to explode, and a pizza that I ordered that took 2.5 hours to get because they had only one delivery driver. So,
ouchie.
Yeah. But yeah, so with that, we're going to wrap up this episode with on the channel. I want to thank our patrons once again at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Thanks to Vinkman, Scott, Jurgen, Phoenician, Greg, Scott. Did I say Scott? Georgia, Kale, and Cindy. Thank you guys for that was the wrong
new graphic. Hang on.
I wrong. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Phoenician, Kale,
I worked hard on this shit.
Jurgen, Greg, Scott, and Vinkman, thank you guys all for your support. Patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Reminder, we will be having some changes with it, but everybody that already has existing tiers, you guys are getting everything you're already getting now. And hopefully, no, not hopefully, we will be giving you more content on our Patreon page. Audio editions will be starting to trickle out next week, and including the finale of Clone Saga Chronicles. I've been promising it for a while. I was a little depressed thanks to the end of Beyond, and I started editing it this last weekend, and I will probably have the edits done this upcoming weekend. I'll probably get that done Sunday. So really looking forward to that. Once again, make my Mayday tomorrow night here on the Spideydude Radio Network YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you guys next time here on the Spideydude Experience.